Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Emotionally Intelligent series. Today, we are going to be talking about one of the most important skills when it comes to emotional intelligence, and it's called delayed gratification. So, what exactly is delayed gratification? It is nothing but your ability to basically resist a temporary reward for a much more larger and meaningful reward that comes after you have waited or exhibited self control. So there was a very famous psychologist. He was an Austrian born American psychologist named Walter Mischel, and he conducted a study or a test known as the Marshmallow Test. Now, the Marshmallow Test is a very famous experiment, and you can look it up on the internet or wherever, and you will find a lot of videos and information about it. So I'm just going to give you a snippet of what exactly is the marshmallow experiment and how is it related to delayed gratification and what is it that they found out from the experiment. So in the 1960s, Michel conducted this experiment where in a room he called some 4-year-old kids alone. He took each kid and made them sit at a table and offered them one marshmallow. Now, the kids got really happy. Each kid got really happy on seeing the marshmallow and they wanted to eat it instantly. So, Michelle went ahead and told the kid that if you avoid eating this marshmallow while I am away for the next 15 minutes, I promise to give you another marshmallow when I come back. So that is, if the child waited for 15 minutes until Michelle came back, in that case, the child would be rewarded with not just one but now two marshmallows, and they could eat two. Now, on listening to this, a lot of kids agreed, most of them actually. And as soon as Michelle walked out, there were different reactions that were recorded. There were some kids who instantly ate the marshmallow and couldn't wait at all for the second one. There were some kids who decided to wait and eventually gave in the next 5 to 7 minutes. And then there were some kids who did everything in their capacity to distract themselves. Some of them sang songs, some of them looked at the other interesting things in the room and waited successfully for the next 15 minutes until Michelle walked in so that they could not eat one now but have two marshmallows. So when Michelle walked in and found certain kids who have not eaten the marshmallows, he gifted them or he gave them the second marshmallow and they were quite happy about it. Now the experiment did not end here. After 14 years, Michelle went back to the parents of these kids and met these kids, their parents and relatives, and tried to study what exactly or how are they doing right now in life. And after 14 years, he found out that the kids who actually delayed gratification, it means waited for the second marshmallow, had improved SAT scores. They had great bonding and relationships with the people around them. And they also did very well in other school and extracurricular activities. So this is one of the most important things to be noted over here, that their willpower was something that played a very important role, you can say, in delaying that gratification, of delaying that instant reward for a much more larger reward. So, as I just said, self control and willpower definitely played a very important role in helping these kids delay gratification. But since they're just 4-year olds, a lot of questions do pop in our minds, and one of that question would be that this is just a 4-year old, and how did they exhibit so much of self control? Is self control a predetermined trait? Well, it's not exactly true. In fact, there was another experiment that was done years later where researchers took a much more larger group of children and divided them into two major groups. The first group was exposed to much more unreliable experiences. For example, before the marshmallow test was conducted, These kids were given a box of, let's say, crayons or stickers, and a researcher promised them that post 15 minutes, that if they waited for 15 minutes without using these crayons or stickers, the researchers would give them another box of better crayons or better stickers. And the other group, that is the second group of children, were promised the same things. But the first group of kids, who all the successful kids who waited, the researcher walked into the room without any box of crayons and without any box of stickers, hence breaking their promise. Whereas to the second group of kids that were exposed to a much more reliable experience, here what happened was that once the kids successfully waited without using the box of crayons and stickers, what happened was the researcher actually gifted them a better box of crayons and stickers. So after this specific thing happened, then the marshmallow test was conducted on both the groups. Now, what happened was that group one, that was exposed to much more unreliable experiences, that is, their promises were broken. Even though they waited and exhibited self control, they did not get the reward that was promised to them. They were the ones who did not wait for another marshmallow. The moment the test started and the researcher was outside the room, they had that marshmallow because they just experienced waiting and not getting a reward. Whereas the group two, that is the second group that had received that beautiful box of crayons and amazing stickers, actually waited. They actually waited and did not have that single marshmallow because they knew that if they would wait, they would receive another marshmallow when the researcher enters the room. So, yes, self control is very important in delaying gratification, but another two things that played a very important role in group two. Waiting for their second marshmallow was the first thing is that they knew that they would receive something much better. They would receive a reward, that would be worth their wait. And the second thing was that they believed that they had the capability and the capacity to wait, because that's what they successfully did in the previous experiment. So, yes, to sum it all up, the marshmallow test has definitely proved that delayed gratification does bring a lot of advantages, and people who exhibit delayed gratification tend to have successes in most of the important aspects of their life. But let's not ignore a thing here, that it is a piece of data at the end of the day. It means that those kids who did not exhibit delayed gratification, not all of them turned out to be unsuccessful in their lives. I mean, that was not a major determiner over there. And yeah, because as I just mentioned, self control is not a predetermined trait. It rather is also influenced by a lot of different factors like your experiences, the environment that surrounds you. So, and it is also something that can be learned and developed if you set out on the journey of being much more disciplined. In fact, two important things that you can do to become much better at, being more patient and delaying gratification could be first taking small steps. That is, identify what exactly is the larger goal that you are aiming for, and build each step at a time so that you get much more closer to it. The second thing is to also reward yourself. Now, obviously, it will sound so funny. In one way, we are saying we are trying to delay gratification, delay reward, and I'm also speaking about rewarding yourself. But what I mean here is when you are making wise choices along your journey, along the way to being consistent, of doing something to get a bigger and a much more meaningful reward in the future. As you're going along this journey, every successful choice, every good decision you make, I think you need to celebrate all your wins, and you need to appreciate yourself. And this is definitely going to help you stay more focused on the larger picture, the larger reward, and will help you successfully delay gratification.